he's like that. So him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, it just, he.
The curtain has been yanked back on the Harris household, and what spills out isn't some heartwarming family sitcom. It's the kind of drama even their own reality show couldn't script. We're talking about a full-blown public spectacle as King Harris, the so-called rebel prince of Atlanta hip-hop royalty, finds himself behind bars, his mugshot making the rounds, and, here's the shocker, his father, the self-proclaimed King of the South, T.I., isn't riding to the rescue. Not this time. Not with a dime, not with a lawyer, not even with a late-night call to the family fixer. Instead, T.I. stands firm, arms crossed, determined that King learns a lesson. And suddenly, this isn't just about some bad decisions and an unlucky run-in with the local police. This is the public coming apart of a dynasty built on image, resilience, and plenty of carefully polished Instagram posts.
Now, here's our issue with King. First off, the kid's a menace, right? He goes around. No, I'm serious. Yo, King, listen. King goes around terrorizing the community of Atlanta, bro. That's a fact, bro. I'm serious, bro.
From the outside, we all thought we knew the story. The Harris clan, stars of primetime surviving reality television, marriage scandals, and wild child rumors always seemed to circle the wagons when things got tough. But the reality is cracking. King, whose run-ins with the law have always made headlines, suddenly isn't getting bailed out. No midnight negotiation, no envelope of dollars passed under a table. The I wants to let life teach the lesson. The patriarch's tough love approach is being pitched as a masterclass in discipline, but from the way King is reacting, it looks more like the start of a mutiny than a family intervention. He's not just upset, he's detonating bombs on social media, throwing shade not only at his father's morals, but also at the secrets the family has kept locked behind Iron Gate. Because here's the turn nobody saw coming. King isn't just playing the misunderstood rebel anymore, he's swinging for the throne. And his weapon of choice? Accusations so explosive they're echoing all the way from Atlanta to LA. The kind of accusations that make even veteran gossip editors sit up and check their legal notes. According to the whispers flying around the Harris family's orbit, King is calling out his own father not only for being a hypocrite but for breaking sacred vows. He says T.I. has been unfaithful to Tiny, not just with other women but with men. That's right, the oldest rumor in the southern hip-hop streets, dragged out under the brightest lights, weaponized by the son against the father in full public view. Never mind what's true, what's exaggerated, or what's just payback. King is airing out dirty laundry in a way that has even loyal fans wondering what's real.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny and T.I.
The wildest part? These aren't just new claims. The Harris family, let's be honest, has spent years dodging and denying rumors about T.I.'s extramarital activities. There's been speculation, there's been social media smoke, and there's always been the united front. The anniversary trips to Thailand, the carefully worded Instagram tributes, the love when both parties fight through the tough times captions. Tiny herself once posted, "Thank you baby T.I. for everything. Looking forward to creating more memories and living life with the man that has made all my dreams come true." That was then. Now we're watching King flip the script, basically holding the family's past against its present. He's not content to play the prodigal son who needs a lesson. He wants everyone to know that the empire isn't just crumbling, it's always been hollow at the core. And here's where things slide into the abyss of tabloid history. King's accusations aren't just a rebellion. They're coming at a time when the family's reputation is already on a razor's edge. T.I. and Tiny have weathered more than their fair share of legal storms, from allegations of wild parties to the kind of lawsuits that get even VH1 nervous. This year, just as the old misconduct cases were getting dismissed on technicalities, new lawsuits re-emerged under California's look-back laws, and a swarm of past accusers crawled back out of the woodwork. A former friend and longtime Harris nemesis, Sabrina Peterson, fired off on social media that she had receipts and that the FEDS already have this. Of course, T.I. dismissed it all as spreading propaganda, but as always, the stain lingers. Now, King is hinting that his father's refusal to pay his bail is less about teaching lessons and more about keeping a tighter lid on even darker secrets.
Pop royalty accused of drugging and sexually assaulting women.
Rapper, actor, and businessman Clifford T.I. Harris, along with his wife, Tamika Tiny Cottle, they're being named in a massive lawsuit.
Let's not ignore the subtext. The so-called secret financial feud is bubbling beneath the surface. It's not lost on anyone that King's outbursts, his claims of hypocrisy, and his new willingness to torch the family's image coincide with his sudden loss of access to the Harris fortune. Is T.I. really doing this for tough love? Or is he clamping down on a rebellious son who knows too much, who's threatened to leak stories that could sink the entire Harris legacy for good? 3 people in T.I.'s wider circle, speaking off the record, say there's a quiet campaign to cut King off until he stops acting out on social. The unspoken threat, play ball, or risk losing the family for good. And for a clan that once made a living from living out loud, that's a cruel twist of fate. Has King been boxed out because he's reckless? Or is it because he's the one holding the matches next to the family's gasoline-soaked secret? But wait, the real twist is coming from inside the house. According to 2 industry sources who've watched the Harris marriage spiral, Tiny is quietly consulting divorce attorneys and moving assets. Is she just fed up with the endless drama, or has she finally seen proof of what King's been alleging? The whispers say Tiny has been growing distant for months. She's no stranger to loyalty. Her anniversary posts alone could make a Hallmark card cry. But even the most patient partners reach a breaking point. When rumors started flying that Tiny had already spoken to high-profile Atlanta lawyers, insiders started betting on the odds of a high-stakes Harris divorce hitting the headlines before the year is out.
Gorgeous. He was like, so that was kind of like, we exchanged numbers, and we ended up meeting that same day. We went to a $3 cafe, we talked, and we kind of got to know each other a little bit over some wings. And from there, we kind of like just played phone tag for a minute and finally hooked up.
Fans are watching the timeline like it's the final season of a binge-worthy show. T.I. and Tiny, once the gold standard for surviving scandal, now find themselves at war not just with the media, but with their own children. King is determined to set the record straight, his way, and for once, the family's pain isn't getting edited out in post-production or hidden behind a glossy family photo. Every argument, every accusation, every eye roll and headlock, yes, there was a literal headlock at an Atlanta Falcons game, has been captured and replayed for all to see. T.I. taunting his son, boy, you can't do nothing with me, as King screams about being lied on. Tiny telling the world her son sucked a pacifier until he was 12. A million memes later, the spectacle is no longer just internet fodder, it's the new reality. The scariest part for the Harris brand is the timing. Just as they start to clear their names in old legal battles, new narratives flood in from the family's own ranks. Sabrina Peterson's old feud is getting fresh oxygen. Industry insiders are whispering about payoff attempts, and King's social media meltdowns are dissected in real time by everyone from veteran Atlanta journalists to TikTok influencers. A viral post claims King's not even the father of his newborn son, a claim Tiny herself had to wade into, dismissing it as lies you read and blasting the clickbait merchants who thrive on Harris chaos.
Still trying to coddle him for. Let the man walk off, have some time to himself, sit down, soak it up, and come up with what he need to do.
But this isn't just about messy family fights and social media callouts. The Harris empire, built on reality TV, chart-topping singles, and the appearance of unity, is now in danger of being unmasked by its own blood. King's "I stand on business" mantra might sound like a punchline, but he's clearly standing on something, and it's not the family script. With his mother eyeing the exit and his father refusing to come to the rescue, King's accusations about T.I.'s personal life suddenly carry new weight. Are these just the desperate cries of a sidelined son, or does he know more than the public ever imagined? Even the most loyal Harris fans are starting to ask questions.
Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Tiny, always the peacemaker in public, now finds herself forced to pick sides, or at least defend the family from a growing tide of rumors. T.I., meanwhile, seems determined to control the narrative, dismissing all talk as the work of negative people who haven't found their blessings yet. But the truth is, the Harris legacy is now more fragile than ever. King isn't just lashing out, he's inviting the world to judge what goes on when the cameras stop rolling. And he's not afraid to drag every skeleton out of the closet if it means winning the next round of this family feud. And as the family scrambles to keep up appearances, the cracks keep getting wider, their secrets more impossible to bury, and the public more invested than ever in how far this drama will go. If there was ever a moment when the Harris empire felt unshakable, it's gone now. Dissolved in a tidal wave of public blow-ups, secret accusations, and the kind of family warfare that leaves reputations bleeding out on the timeline. We're left staring at the very real possibility that King's campaign of rebellion might do what a dozen lawsuits, investigations, and industry feuds never could: end T.I.'s reign over Atlanta's pop culture throne. No matter how many awards crowd the mantle, how many reality show spinoffs get greenlit, or how many anniversary getaways end up on Instagram, the truth is, the foundation of T.I.'s empire isn't made of platinum records. It's built on family. And right now, the family is shattering, right in front of the world's eyes.
So how do you feel with, because now that the evolved T.I. is also the even more of a father T.I., because not only are you just a father, you have to be a father in the industry, because all your kids are in the industry.
Man, damn.
Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming.
Industry insiders are buzzing, sponsors are reportedly getting cold feet, and old friends turned enemies are circling for a taste of Harris' downfall. There's real talk among music execs that the T.I. brand is suddenly radioactive. Nobody wants to be the next to bet their dollars on a dynasty that might be on the brink. Publicists and handlers are scrambling, whispering about NDAs, and quietly praying that the next revelation doesn't come in the form of a midnight Instagram live meltdown. Even his loyalists are asking, can T.I. survive his own son's firestorm? Or is this a case of the King of the South finally learning what happens when you raise a new prince who refuses to bow? The damage isn't limited to business. We've seen this kind of empire crack before, but rarely does the attack come from within. King, for better or worse, knows exactly how to get attention, and he's using it. His threats of further exposure, the way he dances around what he might reveal next, keep the industry tense. The stakes have never been higher. A former road manager says that every time King posts, there's a tense silence in the Harris camp, as if everyone's waiting to see which scandal will break containment and which will just poison the well a little more. How much does King actually know? The label hasn't commented, but several sources close to the family say there's legitimate fear he could drop tapes, texts, or other receipts that would make the current drama look tame by comparison.
If you are going to be emotionally attached to how they receive it, if you're going to have an emotional attachment to their opinion.
Meanwhile, as T.I. and King square off, Tiny hovers at the eye of the storm, a silent force, her every move and emoji getting dissected for clues. We know she's always played the role of peacemaker, the one who stitches the family back together with patience and softly worded captions. Yet this time, her silence feels strategic, even ominous. When rumors about King's paternity started boiling over, it wasn't T.I. who stepped in to defend. Tiny was the one to post, "Don't believe all the lies you read and throw shade at the clickbait merchants." But does that mean she's standing by her son, her husband, or just protecting the last shreds of family dignity? Her cryptic posts hint at exhaustion, maybe a quiet resolve to survive no matter which way the wind blows. We can't ignore the fact that Tiny has been the family's hidden backbone through every crisis. But lately, she's less visible, ducking interviews, skipping events, letting speculation swirl. Her friends, according to at least 2 insiders, say she's tired of being caught in the middle, tired of fighting battles that never really end. One Atlanta attorney, known for representing celebrities in messy splits, claims Tiny's legal team has been exploring options since before King's arrest even made headlines. But whether she's planning an exit or simply biding her time remains anyone's guess. For a woman who once called her marriage forever, the silence is almost louder than words.
How did we meet? Well, of course, I met him around town in the studios, and he's a bit younger than me. He's 5 years younger than me. So at the time, I was pretty young too. So he was kind of like a kid to me. And I'm like, oh, he's cute.
If this is the end game for the Harris family's on-screen brand, nobody's going quietly. King keeps fanning the flames with every public appearance, clapping back at haters, threatening to tell the whole story, and fueling new rumors with every post. And as the family's private messages and public squabbles keep getting leaked, the narrative is spiraling out of their control. Remember, this is the same household that once sold us on unity, forgiveness, and the myth that love conquers all. Now, all bets are off. The empire looks less like a dynasty and more like a battlefield, where the rules keep changing.
I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, it's some adversity. Mm-hmm. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your bed.
Yeah. It's impossible to ignore how the Harris family's turn as reality television royalty may have helped engineer their current predicament. Years of cameras capturing everything from family dinners to bedroom spats transformed their private struggles into primetime entertainment, forging an image that felt both aspirational and oddly vulnerable. What started as a vehicle to showcase Black excellence and resilience soon became a double-edged sword. Every argument, misstep, and slip of the mask was magnified for millions to dissect. As we look back, it's clear that the relentless exposure didn't just open the door to opportunity, it invited the whole world into their most fragile moments, breeding a pressure to perform not just for ratings but for their own sense of self-worth. The constant scrutiny inevitably chipped away at the family's boundaries, blurring the line between authenticity and performance. There's a sense now that some of the deepest fractures in the Harris household were born not behind closed doors, but in the relentless glare of the reality TV spotlight. The audience saw King rebel against the silver spoon narrative, watched T.I. navigate the fine line between disciplinarian and entertainer, and witnessed Tiny trying to hold it all together with a smile. Every confession, every confrontation became content. And when the cameras turned off, the residue lingered. Resentments unresolved, trust worn thin, and the expectation that every family crisis must be shared, debated, and judged by strangers. Is it any wonder the fallout feels so spectacularly public now?
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting has gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
Fame has a way of warping relationships, turning ordinary parenting struggles into media firestorms and personal pain into public spectacle. For the Harrises, celebrity wasn't just a byproduct of their talent, it became the very stage on which their dysfunction played out. The same visibility that once brought ad deals, accolades, and social influence has now trapped them in a feedback loop of spectacle and shame. We're left with a sobering reminder: when private lives become tabloid fodder, the human cost can be devastating, leaving even the strongest families exposed, exhausted, and unable to find a way back to the lives they once lived before the cameras started rolling.
And as an adult, T.I. owns a significant amount of commercial and real estate property in Atlanta metropolitan area. He's a respected businessman in the industry of music. And his reality show was one of the most wholesome reality shows I've ever seen. It was kind of Bill Cosby-ish. And it was a dynamic that I thought provided some balance to the reality shows in general.
The ripple effect is spreading fast. Old episodes of T.I. and Tiny the Family Hustle get replayed and re-examined for missed clues. Fans split into warring factions, and everyone seems to have a theory about who's really pulling the strings. Music blogs have started speculating whether King's outbursts will tank his own fledgling rap career before it even gets off the ground, or if controversy will become his brand, eclipsing even his father's legacy. The industry is watching with popcorn in hand. The only certainty is that nothing will ever be the same for the Harris name. There's one more wrinkle. King hasn't run out of ammunition. At least 3 social media insiders claim he's still sitting on DMS, voicemails, and video clips that haven't seen daylight. Whether he actually intends to release them or is just flexing for attention is still up for debate. But as long as the threat hangs over the family, the tension won't let up. And with every day that passes, the risk grows that another bombshell could drop, one that even Tiny can't smooth over with an Instagram post or a family group hug. So what now? Has King set fire to the very foundation T.I. built, or is this just another storm for the Harris clan to weather? Will Tiny finally break her silence and reveal where her loyalty truly lies? Could a final devastating reveal still be waiting in the wings? Or does this drama have one last, jaw-dropping twist left to deliver? We want to know what you think. Drop your wildest theories, hottest takes, and boldest predictions in the comments below. Whose side are you on? And what do you think is really going on behind those velvet ropes? Stay tuned, because when it comes to the Harris family, the next chapter is always the one that no one sees coming. Thanks for watching, and until the next scandal drops, keep your tea hot and your notifications on.